Bluff is home, but the north is where I'm from. And I've been away for a long time, about 8 years, and coming back here is like seeing this place for the very first time. And I tell you what, on a good day, this place is magic. Oh, this is exciting. I really feel the trip's about to begin now. I'm going to leave the Manukau, go up the coast alongside the Waitakaris, drop across to the Kalpara, go to the hot pools, and then go by boat all the way north as far as Dargaville. Actually, one of the things that's got me really excited about this is I get to go from Manukau right to Dargaville, which means I get to leave Auckland without driving north from Auckland. Because for me, the drive north of Auckland is one of the worst drives in the country. You've got sort of kikuyu grass and pine trees. It's just bitsy. But this way, the beach, then the Kalpara harbour, I think it's going to be fantastic. And to me, the Kalpara is a complete mystery. I know nothing about it. I haven't been on it. It's always seemed sort of moody and melancholy. I can't wait. I think it's going to reveal some interesting stuff. This is amazing. This is Karikari Beach, and the thing that amazes me about this beach, you come here any time of the year, any time of the day, and it's absolutely stunning, surprisingly stunning, without a doubt. One of the country's most exciting and best beaches. I just have two wishes though. I wish they'd never milled the kauri from the Waitakaris, and even the 1800s visiting novelists like Anthony Trollope said, don't touch the trees, but they did. And the other thing I wish is that they never had houses at these beaches, Karikari or Piha. But mind you, I suppose if they never had the houses, we'd never have the roads to get here, and we couldn't come here for a picnic on a winter's day like today. But it is just stunning. Famous beach, obviously, too, for piano and yada yada, but I don't really want to concentrate on that because I think actually they should have even had permission to film here, but that's just another story. Piha has also had a bit of fame. Most of you will know it as the star of Piha Rescue, following the drama of the Piha Surf Club. Long-time Piha resident Sandra Coney wrote a book on the club's 75-year history. Do you know, I don't want to put you on the spot, but there must be some occasion when the first person came out here to surf. Was that something, the Prince from Hawaii that came out or got picked?
The Prince from Hawaii never came.
Didn't he?
No. The big thing that happened was a couple of American lifeguards came here in the late 1950s called Bing and Rick. And actually Bing became very, very famous back in California when he went there, Bing's boards. You know, he was one of the original board riders. Well, they appeared like princes on the beach. I was about 15 and there were the crew-cutted blonde Americans. And all the surf club guys lined up because they had surf skis at the time with a paddle, and that was the only way you could come in on the wave. And so when these guys went out, they thought, oh God, they're gonna get written off. It was a big surf. And they went out and then they rode the boards diagonally across the waves. And there was just complete adoration of this. And he said, when he came out of the water, all the surf club boys were lining up and saying, can I have a go? Can I have a go? So it took off like wildfire because it was so much more interesting than the old surf ski. That was pretty well the beginning of surfing. Modern surfing in New Zealand came from the Piha Surf Club. So
Bing and Rick came here, they went out, they stood up on their boards, they showed that it was possible, and they did it.
They said they showed off.
But Piha is not all surfing safari. It has its dark side and was once the scene of a grisly and quite bizarre crime. The murder mystery in the skull, is that a story that you know much about? Because it was pretty bizarre, wasn't it?
The body in the burning back story. Oh yeah, because my parents were on their honeymoon here, And then the fire was just down below here.
On their honeymoon.
Yeah, and so they went rushing down from here. And so my parents used to talk about it vividly. And all the guys were dragged along from the surf club because there was no way of putting the fire out. You know, they were trying to bucket it out of the creek. And my mother said there was this guy going around saying, my mate, he's in the batch.
And sure enough, they did find a body, but police worked out it wasn't his mate. It was the body of recently deceased Patrick Shine.
And they'd gone up and dug up his body and taken it and put it in the batch and then pretended it was his mate who'd burned to death in the batch.
So was it insurance?
It was an insurance fraud. The mate had even gone and got the same teeth pulled out as Mr. Shine so that his jaw would look the same. They'd insured the mate for an awful lot of money in Australia, and it was a very elaborate swindle.
Pretty grisly swindle, if you ask me, with the whole digging up the body and all. Mind you, they were Australian. Leaving the coast now, heading inland to the Kalpara harbour. Well, joy, oh joy, I'm spending the night at the thermal resort of Parakai. When I was growing up, there's 4 places people wanted to go on holiday. Fiji, Disneyland, Marineland in Napier, or Parakai Hot Springs. We came here often, it was fantastic. These days, it's got a slightly faded Soviet feel to it, and almost a bad thing happened at youth group feel to it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's still got a sort of melancholy niceness to it. And the really good thing is, the really exciting thing is, tonight is last Thursday of the month, and as those in certain circles know, the last Thursday of every month at Parakai is nude night. So obviously we've got you, Damien, and you're a family, parents and 2 sons, and you're all nude around the house. That's the way you roll?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. We actually live on a nudist club grounds.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, you're into it. I've got to admit, I thought, oh God, they're a family. They're a family. Oh. You must have some interesting home movies, hey, your videos. And didn't bring the girlfriends, that didn't happen. That worked out well, yeah. But they're normally up for it, you know.
Oh, yep,
yeah.
they're keen as.
And yeah, my girlfriend was disappointed she couldn't have been here because, you know, it's natural and it's good to be young and free.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's not too tawdry either, is it? It's all right. Isn't it?
Oh, no, it's great.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It feels nice. I enjoy being naked. I enjoy being naked with other people. It's something very supportive. We've never met before. But I feel quite welcome.
Yeah.
I reckon I'd be up for the 100 all in the pool, and I'd be up for the big one. I could do it, but they're a bit more comfortable with water than I am. But that's cool. Small steps. To be fair, actually, Parakai was a lot less run down than I thought it was pretty nice. Nice to soak in a bath after a long walk through the sand. Tomorrow, new day, Kalpara boats, sand dredging. Can't wait. Oh, this is a lifetime dream for me. I'm finally on a boat on the Kalpara. Well, I'm actually on a barge, which has been pulled by a tug. We're going to the mouth of the harbour to go sand mining. Don't get me started on the Kalpara. Very hard to know kind of what it's about or its essence. It's even hard to know how big it is. You get on the internet, it says it's the 2nd biggest harbour in the Southern Hemisphere. Some people say it's the 2nd biggest harbour in the world. I'm really excited about today. I've got family connections on this harbour. This is all I asked for, it's all come true. Windstones have been extracting sand from the Kalpara for 30 years. Tony Walls has been the operation manager for the last 6. And the whole process, we just take the barge out and suck it off the seafloor. Is that exactly what happens?
That's basically what we do. We go down here arrive here just on low tide and suck a barge load of sand and then head back home with the incoming tide.
And you have to process it or sift it, it's just good to go once you get it back in there.
Pretty much good to go. They let it dry. They like to sort of leave it sit for 24 hours, let the water drain out of it, and then they stockpile it and it's ready to go.
And nothing goes wrong, nothing gets stuck in the pump, or it's fairly straightforward once you're out here.
Well, that's the theory. No, everything goes wrong. Everything that can go wrong does go wrong. I mean, it's sod's law, isn't it? We blow hydraulic hoses or get hunks of wood stuck in the pump or, yeah, all sorts of funny things. But 9 times out of 10, we can fix it before we have to leave and go home still with a load.
And the weather always wouldn't play fair, would it?
Oh, we've had some really bad trips. On a rough day, where we're standing here, you'd be very wet.
So it can be quite miserable.
Oh, yes, yeah. But it's also sort of invigorating, you know? There's nothing much happens on a day like this. It's really...
Pretty nice, but I imagine you look forward to the excitement as well, you know, when it's...
Oh, well, you know, on a really rough day when she's rocking and rolling, it certainly gets you going.
What would you say is the best thing about working on the Kalpara?
No day's ever the same. It's just, yeah, it's really nice just to see each day start, you know?
Yeah.
The other thing that's really nice is that the average person is a bit unsure with the Kalpara. It's just full of sandbars and mud banks and sharks and stingrays, but that suits us real fine because you can pull into a bay and there'll be nobody there. You can have the whole bay to yourself.
You don't get the idiots because it's too hard, is that what you're saying?
Well, to be impolite, the idiot's usually stuck on the sandbank way back at Shelley Beach 20 minutes after he's launched.
But it should be plain sailing for the next 40 k's of the trip. I'm swapping boats to go fishing with Rodney, who spent almost his whole life fishing on the Kalpara. How long have you fished in the Kalpara?
Sure, been here 53 years.
Oh, how you beginning the hang of it?
Started here when I was a kid with my dad.
Yeah, flounder, fishing for flounder?
Yeah, flounder, snapper, trevally, gurnard, carwoy, everything.
And you just kept going?
Yeah, I fished it myself for about 15 years. And then went chartering. We take everybody else fishing now.
Because most people would never, it's hard to get on, hard to even see it, eh?
Yeah. It's got a pretty fearsome reputation. And
More fierce than it deserves?
if you're stupid, no. But if you're sensible, yes. Anyone who's been here and says they've never run aground's telling lies.
Yeah.
No, we do pretty good.
Well, you've got to be a bit of a guru, don't you, for people to go, oh, I'll go with that one. I'll go on the Shamrock.
You've either got to be a guru or a clown, one or the other.
Yeah. Well, you've got to clean up after them. That's what people like, don't they, the city slickers?
Yeah. Anyone who's not from the Kalpara is a flaming East Coaster.
Oh, yeah, that's what you call them, yeah.
It's good to see, particularly people who've never been fishing before, go out, throw a line over, they catch their first fish.
It's exciting, eh?
That grin on their face is worth anything, eh? Just magic. Kalpara Coast Guard, this is Shamrock 2.
Shamrock 2, Coast Guard, ready to go ahead.
Thank you very much, and we'll unload some passengers and then we'll head back home. Cheers.
Well, I'm halfway up the harbour. This is Port Albert. It was going to be Albert Land originally, a city that was going to be as big as Auckland. Unemployment in England in the middle of the 1800s drove a special group of settlers out here for a chance of a new life. They were nonconformists, that was their religion, and they came to Port Albert and were known as Albertlanders. Marjorie Prichter is a keen genealogist who has spent her life studying their story. Just tell me briefly about Albert Land, what that was about.
New Zealand at that time was offering for people who paid their passage 40 acres for each adult and 20 acres for each child between the ages of 5 and 20. So if you had half a dozen children, you had ended up with quite a nice parcel of land.
So why did they decide this was the best place to be? What did they like about Port Albert?
There was a lot of water for travelling. They thought this was good land because it had been cleared of a lot of trees. Mind you, there weren't that many trees on it. It had been sold originally because it really wasn't gum digger's clay. And the people who came, of course, being from towns, didn't know anything about agriculture, didn't know anything about farming or any of that sort of thing. This area was promoted and it was shown on paper as being a town to rival Auckland. They'd laid out all the streets.
So it was going to be as big as Auckland up here?
It was going to be bigger than Auckland because it was a bigger harbour and they thought, you know, this was where it was going to be. But there were so many things that went against it. The government had promised them an all-weather road from Auckland. Well, that never happened for another 40 years. And it was more than 40 years before the rail came through.
Life was hard, the land no good, transport hopeless, the settlement never really took off, but my family did. So Marjorie, what can you tell me about my family's connection? Because I know that this is all where it happened. Were they nonconformists?
The Lush family were, but they didn't come out as Albertlanders. The earliest I can find them arriving here was in 1881 when the last 3 children went to school here at Port Albert.
So they weren't the first wave, they
No.
weren't non-conformist, but
No.
they still would have come out here to a religious settlement.
Yes, yes. As far as I remember, Mr. Samuel Barton-Lush was a Unitarian.
Which is,
Different.
you say
I'm
different
not
in a
quite
nice
sure.
or loving way, or...
Well,
Because non-conformist does sound a bit weird, but actually
well,
they
nonconformist covers an umbrella of Methodists, Presbyterian,
fine.
Church of Christ.
were... And of course then they got involved with the Batleys at the fish canning factory. That's still,
Yes.
still to look into that.
Yes, well, they were nonconformists. They came out as part of the settlement.
So they were Albertlanders.
They are definitely Albertlanders, yes, the Macefields are. So you do have a Albertland roots.
So it's two sides, the Macefields and the Lushes married at the fish canning factory, so I'm non-conformist and Unitarian.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Which is probably what you are as well, eh? Are we related?
No.
No. Well, this is the very small settlement of Batley, and when I say very small, it's just one house. And this is time for me to explore another side of my family history. This is the tin fish side of my family history. Mind you, there was clearly coin in tinned fish. The former family home looks all right. The Macefields were my great-great-grandparents, and current owners Ray and Rex Rodley are Macefield history specialists.
Joseph Macefield, he started our mullet canning in about 1883.
Does it? Mullet canning, it's not like the Gregory.
Well, it was glamorous until salmon canning came along.
And then along came Mr. Lush, is that right? He's the engineer at the Mullet Works, is that right? Yep.
And along came Samuel Lush, yeah, and he hooked up with Emma. And Emma, your great-grandmother, was the only female of 7 who made it into being adult.
Samuel Lush came and worked at the canning factory.
At the canning factory, and then he ended up going up to Russell, where they had another canning factory up there. So Samuel and Emma lived up there.
And I mean, the whole sense I'm getting spending time on the Kalpara, that was much, much busier then. There was settlements everywhere, there was boats, and it was, I mean, now it's really quiet, but then it was a major place, eh?
When my grandmother came here,
Oh, you too?
the steamer used to come from Helensville twice a week.
Yeah.
And that's how they got to Auckland. They used to catch the steamer down to Helensville and then catch the train into Auckland.
And this was the main store and post office. It was the service centre for the whole area. There were 2 wharves here, one just along from the house, and boats used to transport people up around the harbour, and this was one of the ports where the boat stopped, and sometimes the people would end up staying here if the weather was bad.
Basically what killed the river trade was the railway coming through. Yeah. Before that it was fairly busy.
Well, this is quite strange for me. I don't normally like to give too much of myself away, but this is the remains of the fish canning factory in Batley, and this is my family history. We were fish canners. What did your forebears do? We're a big and tin mullet. And here, of all things, is a tin of Star brand. This is the last ever tin of Star brand tinned mullet made by the Macefield brothers in Batley in the Kalpara. And this was my forebears' history. It's amazing. I had no idea. I had no idea that these stories of the Kalpara were my stories. And I wonder why I always loved tin sardines. The Kalpara has been good to me these past few days, but I do get a sense things could turn very quickly here. In fact, an area of the heads was called the graveyard because of the many ships that were sunk there. Yet another of the very good things about the Kalpara, and bear in mind I'm falling in love with this place, it does have a lighthouse. And you know how crazy I'm about lighthouses. They're my favourite thing. Above trains, above folding rulers. And this lighthouse is at the northern head of the Kalpara harbour mouth at a place called Pautu Point. They built a lighthouse in about 1880. People lived here, but it got too sandy for their wives. They were sweeping the whole time. So in the end, the wives moved to Pautu, about 10 k's that way. The lighthouse keepers would come back and forward by horseback. It didn't always work. It didn't, by any ways, stop all the ships going aground. It was still a graveyard out there. Ships still came, a crop of lives was still lost. But the lighthouse stayed here until about 1950. And by the time 1950s came around, with roads and rail, ships no longer came into the Kalpara. It's not my favourite lighthouse because it's wooden, it's not stone. It would be one of my top 10. Well, gee whiz, I've just spent 3 days on boats on the Kalpara Harbour, and I am a fully signed up member of the Kalpara Harbour fan club. I've absolutely loved it. And not for the reasons because my family are from here, that whole fish canning history. That's not me. I just love it because the harbour has such a sense of authenticity. It's an authentic harbour. It's not full of holiday places and gin palaces and shallow people. The harbour might be shallow, the people around it aren't. As far as nudism goes, don't want to judge, just not into it. I don't get a hobby when there's nothing to do. You take your clothes off, that's it. Boring. Anyway, the other thing I really have loved is leaving Auckland and heading to Dargaville, going not by road, going the whole way by boat on the Kalpara Harbour. I've always wanted to have done that. I've done it. It's been fantastic. I have loved it. It's been magic.